Hi, everybody. I'm Joel Roberts. I'm a former talk show host on KABC Radio Los Angeles. I'm a communications consultant to OAC. And with me are two of my buddies there, Steve Murakami and Scott Johnson. Steve is an architect by training, 20 years in the industry, working as an education expert, primarily in K through 12 design. Scott Johnson is the IT director at OAC Services, has been in the industry more than 30 years, which is hard for me to believe. Steve, you guys have created a software program called the Safety Access Tracker in response to a problem that the pandemic posed. What's the problem?
The problem is we didn't have a way to track people coming and going from our construction sites and a way to understand if they're healthy and should be allowed in.
Mm-hmm. So is this like a survey that people take when they show up at the gate?
No, this is an actual web-based solution that you would come up with your smartphone, scan a QR code, or go simply to a URL for a website. There you're asked a few simple questions that we can calibrate per each project to make it specific. And just ask, do you have any flu-like symptoms? Have you been around anybody with flu-like symptoms? And this simple gateway basically allows people to self-certify that they can come in and they're healthy enough to work and be allowed on site, or it turns them away and shares resources with them, all while entering who's coming, going into a database so that we can go back and understand who's been on the site, when, where.
And Scott, tell me, is that database updated pretty much every day? Because people's health status can change, right?
Yeah, so it's a real-time database. So every time somebody comes and goes and logs an entry, it's entered into the database immediately. And so we keep the information to be able to go back and determine who came into contact with whom if somebody actually reports being infected with COVID-19.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Joel, I'd add, the way that this thing came together is fantastic. It's about OAC's way. We worked with a strategic partner, Lighted Construction, who came up with this initial idea to track who's coming into their site. They were having some technical issues with it, and we saw the opportunity to leverage this across all sites, not just education. It can be for owners that have one site or 50 or as many as they want. We saw this as an opportunity to bring in and leverage OAC services from our legal perspective, our HR and HIPAA compliancy, our technology group. Scott's been amazing, basically turned this thing out over a weekend to get this thing launched.
Weekend?
Yeah.
Did you say a weekend? Good Lord.
Yeah.
Scott, life. I mean, well, okay. I'm glad you have a life.
Yeah.
But I it's funny, Steve, you said that you have been able to leverage this throughout all kinds of different construction sites, not only schools, right?
Yeah, it's adaptable to anything. It can be a client that doesn't even have any active sites, but needs to understand who's coming and going. A lot of these groups that have one building or a whole campus has various partners that come and go. And if we can't track who's coming into the buildings, we can't keep the buildings safe and clean for everybody else.
Scott, could this be applied not only to other types of construction sites, but even to other industries?
Definitely. It's open as to what you're actually using it for. It's very customizable. It doesn't really care what you're trying to accomplish, other than that there's a door and you want to record that somebody's going through that door or that gate, or just somewhere in the specific location, and keep track of that knowledge.
And Steve, I guess this relies on the honor system.
It does. But I think what we're seeing in this era of a pandemic is people are holding each other more accountable. So we're not as worried as the honor system, could be, the weaknesses that could be there, but people are really, watching out for each other to make sure everybody's safe.
Remaining. Yeah, we're all having to adapt. I mean, that's adaptability and agility are the name of the game right now. How do you think the new normal is going to look different from the current normal?
I think moving forward, the connectivity, working from home, working with flexibility is fantastic. I also think working on the construction site, over the years and decades, safety has become such a paramount piece of everyday culture on a construction site that thinking about one more system to increase, a safety check-in every day that's seamless and integrated with technology that we're using all the time, this kind of leveraging in the database that Scott built and what we're going to be able to leverage that for for other opportunities to record building statuses across a district or a campus. Those things are amazing opportunities.
I agree. All right, Scott, quickly, how do people get a hold of this software?
They just have to reach out to OAC.
You got a phone number?
Yeah.
All right, guys, Scott Johnson, Steve Murakami. OAC Responds is one of our themes there, and you guys are evidence of that. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joel.